The Omnic Weekly. Welcome everyone, it is Sunday, May 19th, and this is episode 177 of the Omnic Weekly. This week I'm joined, I'm D. First off, let's be polite, let's introduce ourselves. I'm D and I'm being joined by Frozen.
Hi.
How you doing, Frozen?
Scorpio's gonna be very happy. I'm tired. It's been a week and a half.
The boy gets energy from the fact that you're tired. It's kind of weird, especially because he's an electrician. He should know that that is not how it works. I don't know. That was a really random thing to kind of mention. What is up with your t-shirt? Like, is that one of those t-shirts that is kind of painted with bleach?
Yeah, it's like a tie-dye, but with a black t-shirt, and it's like tie-dyed with bleach. And then I have a few flowers on here.
Okay. Yeah, I figured as much. I don't know. I was thinking maybe Frozen had herself a mayonnaise sandwich, ketchup, and it just spilled all over, or it's what do you call it? Tie-dye?
It's like a tie-dye, or like, and I think splash more. It's like splash with bleach to get this effect.
Yeah,
it's like
I think it's splash. Effect. Yeah, I think it is. I see plenty of those TikToks where people are kind of doing all that shit. And it's kind of nice. You can do with bleach, you can do some awesome stuff, but you need to know what you're doing. Otherwise, you're going to ruin the fabric.
Yeah, I mean, it's black, so there's not much to ruin, but it's a cool effect.
Yeah, it is. All right. Anyways, but yeah, you're tired. I think we're all kind of feeling that, right? I don't know. I feel like overall, I'm ready for summer. It's time to start rolling. It's time to start that vibe where we dive in the swimming pool. Oh, Frozen just disappeared on me.
Give me a second.
Oh, now I'm all alone. Send help, please. Guys, I don't know what to do by myself. It's so dark in here. So lonely. I don't know. Frozen will be back. For the people that are listening to the audio podcast, this is super annoying. They're like, what? Who disappeared? What? I don't get it. Explain this to me. Because we have a video podcast. You should occasionally check that one. I mean,
definitely.
Look, the thing that kind of changed to the audio podcast, I did this one episode where I kind of introduced all of the news at the start of the podcast, and to kind of give people a roundup of everything that happened during the week. I'm going to be very honest. The reason why I didn't do it in the next episodes was because I need to, at some point, realize that I only have a certain amount of time, and I do all these edits myself. I just need to. So one day, if we find someone to help, if the podcast can be edited by someone else that has time to do these things, definitely. But I just found out I basically doubled or tripled the time I needed to edit the podcast. It was like, okay, that is not a good idea, D. Come on, you're already kind of lacking sleep and working way too hard. Don't do this on yourself.
Why would you add something else to that?
It's the curse of a creative mind. You just always think of other ideas you want to do. Like, my brain is constantly full of ideas of projects that I want to do. And the deliberation is never like, how am I going to do it? I'm never afraid of how I'm going to do it. I'm always kind of worried about, am I going to have the time to do it? Because the how, I can figure anything out. The time, I don't have control over time. As long as I don't get any superpowers that help me out, that allow me to kind of slow time down, stop time, create extra time. But for now, I don't know. The only way I can create time is by hiring a shit ton of people. But to do that, I need to make money.
Yes, the forever curse.
The forever curse. There's a sequence to this, and I need to take first steps before I. But the thing you can know as a listener to this podcast is that it is going to keep evolving as kind of things grow and resources become available, if they become available, and then we'll see where we end up. But I still kind of, the audio podcast is a tiny bit different from the video podcast because it includes a little more of a random kind of gibberish beforehand and whatnot. It is a little extended version, which is nice. I think the audio people deserve that because they don't see our lovely faces. They get a little bit of the extra voice. And yeah.
I mean,
if they're happy or not, I don't care.
Compensation for not seeing that glorious beard, I guess.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, of course,
and my beard. I was just going to say, my beard is a pretty nice too. Come on.
Wait.
Oh, For the people that are,
There we go.
that is not a beard, by the way. That's a mustache.
I have the best mustache. Yep.
The blue mustache. Now everybody's definitely going to check this episode that is listening. They want to see your mustache. That is going to happen. Thank you, Frozen. All right, but let's get to the topics. I mean, let's talk about Overwatch. This I need to repeat this every single episode, but it's true. This is an Overwatch podcast, and it has been a bit of an interesting week in Overwatch. Not much is happening. I'm going to be honest. I feel like, I don't know, like it is rather normal that you have these peaks and kind of what is the opposite of a peak? Drops?
Lows? Downs?
Yeah, whatever. They have these ups and these downs of this whole flow of content, of course. As closer that we get to the next season, we're going to see a ramp up and all the information coming out again. But now we're kind of in this place where the mid-season dropped. We're going to talk about that in a second. But when it comes to communication, there's always a bit of a lull around this moment. And as we kind of progress through this season, the lull is going to get deeper and deeper, and then it's going to kind of jump up as we are literally like a few days ahead of the new season, which might be slightly different this time around because June is coming up, and June used to be the time where E3 was happening. Now there's a lot of other events replacing that. But I don't know. We might talk about this at the end of the podcast. We might keep it for the next episode. We'll see. It kind of depends on how much we elaborate on the topics at hand. What did happen this week is that the Porsche collab that had been announced quite a while ago. Actually, I think that was one of the earliest announcements Blizzard ever did for a collaboration. They announced it back in season 9, season 9.
That's weird.
Wasn't it even before season 9? Come to think of it,
it was super early.
Yeah. But I think it had something to do with South by Southwest because they were going to be there with the Mac and the Porsche booth. Yeah.
I mean, they had to kind of come out with it for like, hey, we built this if they want to like show it off somewhere.
Yeah, I don't understand why they didn't do the collab in season 9 then. Probably planning reasons, probably because they didn't have anything for season 10 otherwise. I don't know.
I don't know, but I kind of hope that maybe they'll bring the Mac to Gamescom because they talked about in like a blog post some plans regarding Gamescom. So, and for like the past few years, there've always been like statues, like Lego statues, sometimes also of the Overwatch heroes at con.
True.
So maybe, I hope so. Would be cool to see it in real life.
Did you ever go to Gamescom when Blizzard had this big presence at the event? Because that used to be a thing. Like, I don't know when they stopped doing it. I think it's like been 5 years or something. They definitely a few years before the pandemic, they started doing, they stopped their big presence at the event. But they used to have this whole hall to themselves. They had a stage. They announced a Warcraft expansion there.
The thing is, I think I was there because I started going to Gamescom every year since I'm 12. But I wasn't too interested in the Blizzard games back then. Like, my interest had started during the pandemic.
Yeah.
So I don't remember if there was... Like, I mean, for like World of Warcraft, I probably was a bit too young because it was just not my thing at that point. And I was focused on other kinds of games. So maybe, but I don't remember a lot.
Yeah. It was quite. I mean, like if you are really impressed with the Lego statues that they used to have in the previous years, always had like a tiny booth where they sold merchandise, and there was a Diva Lego. I remember that. I actually made a video about that. But before that, they had this whole hall rented out, and it was basically like a mini BlizzCon happening within within Gamescom. And yeah, hopefully they'll go back to that. That would be nice. I mean, especially since we don't get BlizzCon this year. It would kind of be nice to see that presence. I think they're going to start talking about that after the whole kind of E3 wave. I still call it the E3 wave, but you know, we have Summerfest is coming up. There's Xbox and PlayStation Media events. I think Nintendo's probably going to do something too. In the first 2 weeks of June is going to be a lot of these big houses, big publishers, and big platforms doing their thing.
Nintendo's not coming to Gamescom this year. Usually they're always there, but Nintendo's not doing that this year. What they're doing instead is like a Germany-wide tour of like little conventions popping up for Nintendo.
Okay.
So that's what they're doing this year, but they're not at Gamescom. It's like one of the big publishers where a lot of people were surprised because usually Nintendo's always there.
Nintendo is always the first to draw out, though. Like back with E3, I think Nintendo was also one of the first. I remember there was this whole thing where EA wanted to do their own thing, and I don't know if it was EA. It was kind of funny. I went to E3 that year, and they had rented the space next to where in Los Angeles, the convention center, where E3 happens, which is close to the Staples Center. So there's not a lot of space to do, or there is space, but it's pretty expensive space. But they took this, I don't know what it used to be, if it was parking space or whatever, and they put up their own kind of booth outside of E3, which was their way of saying fuck E3, I guess. And then it's kind of started. That was the beginning of the end. That year really kind of, you saw, I think I went the year after that too, and already a lot of booths were empty. Like there was a lot of space that was not, because the first year I went, it was packed. The second year I went, or the third year I went, it was just like so many empty spaces, and then they put these little benches there for people to rest up and whatnot to kind of hide it. But yeah.
I mean, the first year after the pandemic was a lot of publishers didn't go yet because I think they would wanted to feel out how things would go. But what Gamescom did instead was dedicate a whole hall just for indie developers. So they basically dedicated a whole hall, and you had these tiny little booths, hundreds of these tiny little booths where you could meet the devs and talk to them about their indie games. And that was really cool. I had such a bunch of very interesting conversations there. And to see the people being kind of socially awkward, but really excited to talk about their game, because I mean, it's game developers.
Yeah, you don't have to tell me. I've been to GDC a few times, and there you basically have the same thing. And at GDC, it's just basically GDC is for one part a lot of talks going on. So they have these halls where people share their experiences, and like I've said before, that is where all the game developers come together, like the big ones and the small ones, the indie ones. And they also have the expo floor, and that is on one end you have the big engines and the big platforms, the tools. But then on the other end, which is about 3/4 of the hall, is just small companies that have services, that are indie studios kind of, introducing themselves to publishers. And there's a lot of people walking around. And indie developers, they're very interesting people. They are very passionate about what they're doing and the games that they develop. And, but also kind of, very unexperienced in the ways that they need to approach this, and it's a beautiful thing if you can ever visit an indie gaming event where you see these small studios introducing it. It's always worth it. I mean, I think that whole indie scene is definitely way more popular in the last few years, but it's still so underappreciated in a way. But
definitely.
Yeah.
I mean, coming back to Blizzard last year, they always do something for Gamescom. It's not like they haven't been doing anything. But last year it was kind of cool because they had their merch stand, and they also had this little pop-up thing where I was cosplaying as Mei, as an Overwatch character. And they had a full chest full of Overwatch weapons.
Yeah.
They had Tracer weapon, they had Genji's katana, and all of that, and they had a camera there, and you could take little videos, little shots, and they would email that to you with the weapons. It was pretty cool. And they had the Diablo booth, which was actually pretty exciting because you'd have this course. I mean, I sent you pictures of it, I think. And you have this huge Lilith window, and you got little goodies, and we brought you one back. I don't know if you've received it by now, but I think Gazer still has it for safekeeping for you. And you got the posters, and you could take a picture. They had a huge studio set up in this enclosed space because it's 18+. It has to be closed up. But you were given this huge mantle and a helmet and a spear, and they would take a video of you in the Diablo universe, which was really cool.
Yeah.
They're always doing fun stuff, even if it's just a small thing.
Yeah, they always go out when it comes to their marketing on events like that. It's kind of funny though. That was I think at that point Diablo was out for 3 months, Diablo 4. And now it's funny, I've heard that a lot of people talking about Diablo 4, and the fourth season seems to be the Diablo that everybody asked for. So that's kind of nice to see
Yeah,
that.
I have the stuff over there somewhere, but I'm not gonna get it. But it's really cool. Like a guy had 3 tarot cards from the Diablo universe, and a really cool, like a really gorgeous picture, like poster that you got.
Yeah, nice. All right.
Freebies.
Yeah, that's always good. But talking about promotion, so this week in Overwatch, the Porsche collaboration event started.
Yeah.
I've always been kind of vocal about the fact that I feel like this is an advertisement, as I feared, let me put it that way, it was you have to buy the skins. Like, they are not extra expensive. They're just like the normal prices, so it's not like the collaboration was a bit of a, how do you put this, an excuse to kind of raise the prices for that particular skin because it's a luxury brand and whatnot. They didn't go that far, luckily. That would have been even worse, but still, I personally feel like this event is a bit of a miscalculation. But let me start out with, just for the people that have not been following or that have not been logging into the game and have not seen it. So basically, there's 2 skins that came out that were co-designed with the designers over at Porsche. And there's a Diva skin that we already had seen quite early in. And there's the mech that Frozen talked about that she hopes will make it to BlizzCon. That was built like by a team of prop builders. They made this really 1x1 size mech. It's not a bad looking design. It's very kind of white and shiny, but you know. And then there's a fire skin. The fire skin looks, in my opinion, better than the Diva one.
I think it looks worse, but I mean that's some kind of opinion.
Yeah, that's
personal opinion. Yeah.
I kind of like the more kind of spacey look to it. While I feel like the Diva mech is just, I don't know, she looks like a school teacher, and the mech itself looks like it just is a white mech with a Porsche emblem on the back. I think, for me personally, I feel like the fire did get a little more effort or attention. But you know, there's the Porsche label is on there, and I've had some people, I made this whole video about it where I said like this should have been free, and there's people that agree with me, and there's people that push back. They're like, yeah, but dude, like all of these collaborations are advertisements, and yeah, that is correct. I mean, in a way, if you bring it back to the essence, they're all kind of advertisements. But there's a huge difference between doing a collaboration with, I don't know, the studio behind the One Punch Man IP, and that you basically kind of are as equals try to benefit from the cross-pollination between your 2 fandoms. It's not like, I don't think that the people that are behind One Punch Man are selling these episodes and these DVDs for thousands of dollars and for euros or whatnot. Porsche is more, I don't want to be rude. I mean, I do think there's a lot of creativity in the ways that cars are designed and whatnot, but it is a product. Like it's a car, a luxury car, a car that about 1% of this community could buy with the money they make in a year's working. I mean, like those cars go from 150, 200 to above. First off, there's such a huge distance between what the community kind of is about and what Overwatch as a game is about, the philosophy behind the game, also that equality and all those stuff that they're always kind of talking about and yapping about, at some point just becomes a little, well, until someone walks by with a big check or a very fancy car, you're going to kind of, you know, trying selling skins that are for a luxury brand that makes millions of euros and dollars of the bag.
It has a bit of a bitter aftertaste in comparison to the other collabs. I think it's like, I'm not the biggest fan of K-pop, but I appreciated the K-pop collab. I think the skins were like seriously good, and there's a difference between promoting other people's art, because that's what music, anime, that's what that is. It's art, or a product, because that product is 100% just there to make them money, just there to get more money into their pockets. I'm not saying that Les Seraphim or the others didn't profit or didn't make money from the collaboration. I'm saying that there's a difference between promoting art and, I mean, having something that a lot of people can also enjoy without paying for it, because you can enjoy the music without paying for it. Or making a collaboration with a product that's maybe for like 1 or 2% of the Overwatch
I think we're being very generous. I think we're being very generous,
maybe
1 or 2%.
About luxury cars that a lot of people just can't relate to because they're never going to be able to afford something like that.
Yeah.
And then having to pay for it in games just, I don't know, it just has a different feel to it.
I think there's it's basically like a math calculation. Like, if they are specifically pushing one product forward, which they are in this case, it's a specific model of car that went electric. It feels kind of like an ad. If the company behind it is kind of a huge ass, how do you put this, kind of corporate thing, which Porsche is, it's part of the whole Volkswagen group and whatnot. I think so. I don't know. They might have sold it again. I think Porsche was sold off again recently. I don't know for sure. All these kind of things that stack together, the prices of the cars and whatnot, but also how relatable is this to Overwatch audience, and how close is it linked to Overwatch and the fandoms altogether? And on all those questions, you basically get a negative answer on the Porsche event. While La Seraphim was also pretty close, I feel that was also kind of, and I spoke out on that, the glasses, the gentle, what was it again? The diva. That was also kind of linked into La Seraphim. I also talked about that. But this one was like, I feel like they're pushing it and seeing how far they can go with this. I don't think it's deliberately kind of pushing to see how far they're going with this, but I do feel like every time they get a new opportunity that kind of smells like an advertisement, they look back at the previous one that they did and how much they sold of it. Because I did a poll asking my audience, like, did you buy those skins? And if you take together the people that bought 1 or 2 skins, you get about 25%. And that is a high number. Like, I think on average, it's about 10%. So that is double. That is 25% of the community, or the people that answered my poll at least. And I do feel like if I do a poll on Twitter, it's kind of more risky to extrapolate. But if I do it on Instagram, where I get thousands of answers, but it's pretty safe to extrapolate that. I'm not going to say that it's going to be 25, but it's going to be somewhere around the 20 to 30 region. And that is kind of, that shows that it was a success. So that means the next time they're going to get something like that McDonald's or Starbucks is going to approach them, because that is usually how it goes, right? It's Porsche there's a small chance that there's a Porsche fan in the team that kind of wanted to push this through or whatnot. But what usually happens when brands like that approach a game like Overwatch, they are looking into reaching a new target audience to kind of broaden to clean up their brand, to kind of add something new to their brand identity. By linking those two brands together, they get that. So they usually, one or the other, usually is a brand like Porsche that approaches Blizzard and goes like, all right, can we do something together? And before you know it, and then they have to, usually Porsche has to pay for that. So Blizzard at that point is kind of getting money from Porsche and getting money from us. But I don't know the details. It could be that it is very different in this case. So I'm not going to say that is how it actually happened. But if McDonald's or Starbucks should approach them the next time, we will have to pay for those skins. And because this time around, we all kind of said, no, this is okay. No, we didn't all say it, but 25% said this is okay. And that's enough for them. I mean, they make plenty of money on that. But selling 25% of this community, those skins, they made enough money to kind of warrant the fact. And I'm not talking about the people that are making the game themselves, but the people that make the decisions on these collaborations and the people in the management that have to make this call. Like, is that something that we want to do? Do we want to dilute our own brand by tying it into something commercial like this? Are we going to become this kind of basically advertisement agency for all these things? Are we going to kind of sneak in and have them pay for it? No, that kind of bullshit. So I don't know. I really felt that this would have been, I'm okay with having the Porsche skins in the game, but who am I to, there's definitely Porsche fans out there. Some of them were in my comments. I made this one comment about Porsche drivers in my video where I was like, what did I say? Oh, that they basically use the car to they need a big car to store their ego and something like that, which is a joke because I have friends that have those cars. I've said this before, but in the games industry, usually the studios that make it big, that earn big money, the first thing they all do, the owners of those studios, is buy a Porsche. Like, I've known a few Belgian studio heads, owners of studios, they release a game that does pretty well, and the first thing they do is buy a freaking Porsche, all of them. I'm like,
why?
I don't get it either. I would never, but that's me. I'm also usually, I want to say usually it's the smaller, the shorter people, because people like myself don't fit easily into a Porsche. But no, I've known some people that are like 6'8", 6'9", that bought a Porsche and that fold themselves in there, that suffer just to say that they're driving a Porsche. But I mean, that there's these skins in there. There's definitely going to be people that enjoy it, whatnot. But it would have been less of an issue if they just, I don't know, did challenges like they did with the freaking Lego Bastion skin. I had never had an issue. I love the Lego Bastion skin. I think it's a beautiful skin. It has unique sounds. It adds something to the game that I really enjoy. I feel like it's really a much closer connection or kind of tie-in to Overwatch. It doesn't have this idea,
Absolutely.
of capitalistic whatnot. Go ahead.
But it's like Lego is similarly as big as Porsche, not as much as a luxury brand, but Lego is a huge corporation.
Yeah, it is.
But like having to earn that skin through things, through challenges or anything, feel like doesn't leave that weird aftertaste behind. Since you can earn that skin, you can choose to earn that skin. You can just earn that skin if you want to because it's Lego Bastion. But they didn't make people pay for their advertisement, which is like, of course, the other collaborations also have been advertisement, but having something from pop culture, because Overwatch is pop culture. That's what it is. It's a game. It's part of the pop culture, and navigating inside of the area of pop culture does not usually feel like it's as much as advertisement as adding something into the game that a lot of the players might enjoy. It's like the K-pop, the Cowboy Bebop collaboration. A lot of people were super hyped and excited about those collaborations because they loved the show growing up. They love K-pop, or that some people have been getting into K-pop through that, or have been like watching Cowboy Bebop through like what they saw in Overwatch because they thought it was cool.
Yeah.
And that's like a cool crossover experience to introduce new people, to make old fans happy. And like this mix of pop culture does not feel as much as advertising as getting a huge company into the boat. And I mean, I'm not gonna deny that they built the mag in real life is pretty cool. But if you are gonna advertise it that much and build something of it, I don't know if you should pay money for skin. It's basically like, oh, I like Porsche. I'm gonna buy a $40 of a $30 skin because I like a brand of car that I can never afford in my entire life.
Yeah.
I mean, what kind of, I don't know the English word right now. Oh shit. It's called Mehrwert in German. Give me a second.
Added value?
Yeah, what kind of added value has this collab?
Yeah.
Because the other ones with like even Lego, but like with animes, music, manga, whatever they're gonna do, that has added value to the game, to the players. What does Porsche bring to the table?
Yeah. For some people, it does bring something, but yeah, overall, no, not really. Yeah. I mean, I just hope that this was kind of the extent of how far they kind of want to push this, and that everything that we'll see from collaborations now is going to be closer to what people want, closer to art, closer to gaming, closer to fandoms that are not like these big corporations that, oh man, it just bothers me so much. But, that is my opinion, of course. They do whatever they want to do with their own brand and whatnot. For me, it kind of dilutes the brand of Overwatch. Now, I've said in the past that there are a few fandoms and a few collaborations that I want to see. And one of the ones I recently did because of the whole series that came out was Fallout. I made a whole video about how I think they could do a collaboration with Fallout.
Mm.
And this week, the news dropped that I had been dreading for the longest time. And that news is that Fortnite is doing a collab with Fallout soon, which broke my heart. Like in the same week that I'm getting worked up about the whole Porsche thing, and I'm like, come on, guys, is this how we're going to use the whole kind of platform of collabs and the interactions that you can get with your community and adding this content that makes everybody, is this the way you want to do it? Then there's like Fortnite that does a collab that, yeah, you'll probably have to pay for, but it's with a brand that is such a good fit for a game like Overwatch, like Fallout and Overwatch. It would work perfectly. It would be such a nice crossover, such a nice collab. And then I'm like, Jesus Christ, man, up till now we've had what? And I'm saying this with all respect because it's not because I'm not into those and I'm not a fan of those IPs that they're bad. But One Punch Man never watched it. Cowboy Bebop started watching it after I saw the collab coming out. Let's say if I'm not interested in it. So that's what we're getting. And then Porsche this week, which pissed me off so much. Then Fortnite is like, you know what? We're going to do something with Fallout. I'm happy that my desk is so heavy because I was close to flipping it at that point. I mean,
It is a bit infuriating to see. I mean, of course, always personal preference with, do I like this collab? Do I not like this collab? I think for you, the closest would probably be the Diablo, which is their own IP. So
yeah, I don't count Diablo because it's their own IP. Like that was a bit. I'm not going to say a bit easy, but the Unity, as you need to draw a line in what is commercial and what is an advertisement, you also need to draw a line in what is actually what is actually an own IP and what is still a collab. I don't know what's happening. Go ahead. Keep talking about my headset is pissing me off.
There are so many beautiful and interesting worlds and stories from other IPs, from other games, from manga, anime, from other TV shows like cartoons. There's I see sometimes I'm thinking, even, I don't know about if you call them kids cartoons or not, I don't care, but things like Adventure Time would be so much fun. It's so goofy, but it would fit with the humor of Overwatch so well. And the skins I could think of would be so funny and so fitting in this game. There's so many cool things. And I don't know if they're just having this pressure of having to do at least one collaboration for a season, because that's kind of what they're doing right now, having at least one collaboration per season. Yeah. And if it's that pressure led them to say, hey, I don't know what we're going to do this season, so we're just going to accept the Porsche collab to have something. I don't know if...
No, I don't think the only one that put the pressure on them for doing a collab every month is themselves. I don't think the community ever expected to get one collab every season. I don't think that was something that we were counting on. So yeah, and the reason they put that pressure on themselves is because these collabs do bring in a lot of money, 25%. Like I said, even if it's only 20% of this community buying those skins, that is a lot of money. That is a lot of money, even if you just count the active community.
We're not expecting Overwatch to be like Fortnite, which you can bleep me out because I'm gonna swear now. But Fortnite is kind of a collaboration whore in that sense, because what has Fortnite not collaborated with? They have TV shows, they have singers, and they have so many weird collaboration that I don't know. Sometimes they benefit and they just copy them Control C, Control V, and they just copy them into the game. It's not even skins. They just literally have the characters in their game.
That's a creative choice, yeah.
Fortnite, in my opinion at least, you can correct me if you think any else, but Fortnite has set such an unhealthy standard in this industry for collaborations, and I do not appreciate it.
I mean, it's a creative choice. On one end, I agree that like you can basically just put your hand in a bowl of fandoms or IPs that are very popular in geek culture and pull out a handful, and about 90% of that hand that you just grabbed will be in Fortnite available. There will be a skin for that. Like even Mr. Beast had a skin, if I'm not mistaken. On the other hand, if you look at the target audience for that kind of game and the game is very arcadey. The game is very kind of light in the sense that it doesn't have a lot of, it has lore. I don't want to piss anybody off. It does have lore, but it's not like it's this continuing kind of big epic story. Well, depending on who you ask and when you watch, I guess. There's just a very arcadey tone to it, while Overwatch is kind of more serious, and Overwatch is trying to hit, I think this might be the big difference. Fortnite is not trying to hit those topics and kind of go like, okay, this is important. This is something that we as humans, as humanity, need to be aware of, and kind of bringing this positive message into the world. And Fortnite does, they just kind of, they goof off, which is, I mean, like, we do that ourselves, like as Overwatch players. We always will, if we call someone a Fortnite player, there's like a certain profile to that. Like that is a certain kind of stereotypical kind of young 14-year-old goofy kind of clownesque kid that doesn't take anything seriously. That's basically what you call a Fortnite player in our minds. And I'm not saying that is the case, that is the case with every Fortnite player. So I guess they can get away with it. I would not want to see that happen in Overwatch. And that's why I'm kind of like the whole Porsche collab kind of pushes the buttons with me, because I feel like, hey, this feels like it's a slippery slide, you know? Who knows what is going to be next? And do I want to run around in a game where I see Starbucks logos, McDonald's, Porsche, whatever they can come up with? No, look, if that is going to be the case, no thanks. I'll just go back to single player games.
That gets a bit too real for our reality.
Yeah. I mean, I have to, like, if I want to watch anything, even like I listen to podcasts on Spotify sometimes, and now in Spotify, I pay for my Spotify. I pay quite a lot because I have this kind of duo thing with Hilde that uses it, a premium account. And I still have to listen to the freaking ads before every podcast that I listen to. Like, guys, I paid for this. Can you just piss off?
It's
Leave me alone.
ridiculous. Like, even on YouTube, there's no way I'm watching on my phone or my TV. I used to watch like YouTube on my TV. I have like TV there with an Amazon Fire Stick. I used to watch it on the regular, but it's only PC with ad blockers now because I can't stand like 4 ads. Unskippable ads, like 30 seconds. I don't want to watch 2 minutes of ads before like a 5-minute video. Fuck you.
Yeah. And then you can ask yourself a question, like, even like for those ads with YouTube, like how much of that is going to the creators? Well, the biggest part is going to Google and to YouTube themselves, and you know. But we're not here to discuss stuff like that, because then I'm going to get really pissed. No, I kind of just. It's almost ironical that in the week that I saw that Porsche collab for Overwatch release, that Fortnite came out with that. It was almost like someone was kind of making fun of me, just kind of poking me, just really, because if it had been anything else, it would have maybe have been funny. That anything else that is a little closer, that would have been, but no, specifically this one topic that I discussed a few weeks ago, like literally almost like to piss me off, literally to just kind of kick me in the proverbial testicles. This is the podcast, I can say that. But anyways, like I said, I hope this is the furthest of the extent that they want to go with anything that is too commercial. I really hope that there's this little piece where you can say like, okay, Porsche, there's people that love Porsche that really consider it like a fandom. It's a really small group, but they are there. Yeah, cars can be art too, I guess, to some extent. You know, there's some excuses you can make up. I'm not inclined to do that. I don't care, but you could.
Into cars, I guess. I mean, my stance on cars is really it needs to get me from A to B. That's all I need a car to do. I'm not into that.
I can appreciate a beautiful car, but I do always realize that it is a commercial product, but we'll see what the future brings. I hope that the next collab is going to be better. I'm really hoping to finally get a collab that I'm kind of willing to spend money on, because I didn't buy any of I have not bought any of the skins for any of the collabs that they've done up to now. I'm going to be honest, like even if they gifted them to me, I gave away the keys because I was not interested, because I
bought, I think, 1 or 2 skins from the K-pop collab just because I thought they looked really good. And honestly, like I like the Seraphim. Is this like an upcoming K-pop group? It's not like one of the biggest, like what are they called? Like Pink. That's what I know. But I don't mind, like, if some of my money is like earned through them in their collab. I don't really mind, because I don't mind, like, I love supporting artists. Like, as an artist myself, like, artists supporting artists is always something that's my, like, I will religiously, like, repeat, because that's what I'm about, like, supporting each other as artists, even, like, small, big, I don't care. It's a bit different with car brands, but yeah.
Yeah, and I'm not really saying that people that bought those skins are kind of giving. No. What I'm saying is, like, I didn't care for them. I didn't think they were. I don't want to kind of be a poster child for those while I'm running around in the world of Overwatch to kind of. No, I'm not interested in. But that is because their fandoms didn't interest me. That is just a very personal thing. Anyways, we've been talking about this Porsche event and the collab way too long, because there was also a mid-season update. We had some balancing changes, especially to tanks. And I'm going to give my interpretation of I've not been playing a lot this week. I only played during my stream and a little bit in between because I've been very busy. I'm leaving for a trip at the end of next week, and I need to prepare a lot of stuff. So you guys still have a bit of content while I'm gone. And I felt before the patch release, just reading the patch notes, we have that similar kind of shock going through the community where people are like, oh no, this hero is going to be too strong. This hero is going to be too strong. I feel like a few days in, I don't feel it. I don't feel like there's been a huge shift. I do think that tanks are in a better spot, and they definitely made progress on that, but I have not like a tank where I feel like, oh, this tank is unkillable. Like, I saw some people claiming that Mongo is unkillable. Not really. Yeah, he's more difficult to kill, but if you have an Ana, you kind of do your job and you focus a little bit, it's still manageable. But that was my experience. Like I've said, I've not been playing super hard. I've not been playing competitive, for instance, just been playing quick play. I don't know how you feel about it, Frozen. Have you noticed anything?
I played actually also like a bunch of competitive this week. Mostly during the night when I was going to bed way too late and I couldn't sleep. So I also.
That's the worst time to be competitive.
I know.
At night, the trolls come out. Like,
I know, but I played a lot also with a bunch of people from the community, and I did not notice a lot of difference playing DPS and support. I'm actually just noticed like I was doing better sometimes. I don't know if it was just because it was a good week or not, but I saw myself going back to tank a bit more. I saw myself going back, like enjoying tank a bit more. Like I at some point deliberately chose the tank role, which didn't happen since Overwatch 1. And I don't know, like there's not that much of a difference. I mean, a lot of people, of course, are always like, oh my god, they're gonna destroy the game. But I, like, playing against them, I didn't notice much of a difference, but there's definitely quality of life improvements, and you feel like you can do more without being squished like a bug. If you play tank. It feels better, it feels more fun, you feel like you have more impact again, which is, I don't know if it's enough, but it's definitely noticeable, it's definitely there. And it's not like taking away from the fun of the other roles, because it still feels good to play against them. It doesn't feel overpowering, it doesn't feel like it's too much. Which is, like, overall pretty positive in my opinion.
And even with the DPS changes, I played some Junkrat, Hanzo, and Echo this week, and I noticed a difference, but nothing where I'm like, oh, really? I feel like this got a huge boost. This character is... Nah, I mean, the one thing I noticed that really made a huge difference is the Hanzo Ultimate. The fact that the dragons move faster really had an impact. I died a few times of those, but also killed a few people with that. It definitely made a difference. But the impact of the Junkrat changes, yeah, I mean, it's kind of hard to tell, but I've always been the kind of good at hitting my bombs, and they hit a little harder now, but not to the point where I feel like I'm obliterating everybody. And getting Echo's charge is easier now, or getting the ult for when you copy someone is easier on Echo. But yeah, it's not like they just give it to you. You'll still have to work for it. You'll just like the work that you put in is going to pay off. If you do it correctly, this time around is going to pay off. Where before you could be playing really well on that hero. Sometimes, like especially I like copying D.Va because the bomb, and they never expect it. Like if the whole enemy team knows that they're playing against the D.Va, they're going to be kind of aware, and the way that they position is always going to be a little more ready to jump and to kind of run away. When they don't have a D.Va and suddenly there is a D.Va that explodes in the middle of the team, they are very confused and you get a few kills. But anyways, like before I would be just killing 2 people and my ult would not hit the full mark. I would be like, come on, I just killed 2 people. I should have my ult. And that is the case now. So I think this is after 1 week. My standpoint, you need to give it at least a few weeks of time because you need to get all these all these freak cases need to be out there. You need to really experience it. Like you said yourself, you could just have a good week and kind of perceive it as, oh yeah, this buff is really working out. And we need to give it a little more time. But after this first week, I'm not like feeling like, oh, they've messed up. Not really.
It's the changes that looked big on paper and are not as big in game, but greatly improve the feel of the game, if that makes sense. Like, I've been enjoying Junker Queen so damn much. She's still gonna die quickly if you do stupid shit. That's like not what it's about, but just that you're actually able to do something without instantly being punished is very rewarding. And actually the change where she can do her commanding shout and have overhealth, and you can still use your other abilities does so much. It's so good. I love it. Never revert it back, please, ever. It's really good. And I think I'm gonna be playing a bit more tank now in the future.
I'm curious to see if we're ever going to get numbers on that. If we're going to get the numbers like sometimes they tell us like how the win rate went up for certain heroes or the play rate went up. And I'm really curious. I have not looked into this, but how it pans out on the higher roles, goes on the higher ranks. I mean, because they usually do have a different experience from us on the metal ranks, and they do feel sometimes like there was a lot of worry about Roadhog. Is Roadhog back to that point where he becomes unkillable and just one-shots everybody? Not where I'm playing. I played versus a Roadhog this weekend a few times. Not even a lot, because I don't see a lot of Roadhog. And a few times we played against Roadhog, we ended up having them switch. And the best way to still do that is still Orisa. Orisa got nerfed, but Orisa is still very potent. I've never had the feeling she was too strong, but I feel like in certain cases, she's just like, she's like she does in that one emo, she kind of stops you. It's kind of, all right, we're done playing now. Now we're going to take shit seriously.
One tank that a lot of times goes under the radar is, I don't know, but Ramatra is actually a really good pick right now.
I've always found like Ramatra, since a few seasons, Ramatra is a good pick. But
he's been a solid pick since a few seasons, but with the recent updates, every time I picked Ramatra, I was able to dominate the other team. Like even
I had him with Sigma.
I even picked up Roadhog, which was weird, but
you picked him up.
Actually, not like
he's
that.
A big boy.
I like picked up, played him a few times just because I was curious, and it wasn't that half bad. I have to admit, I always hated Roadhog players, but
I think overall the quality of playing the tank heroes has improved, and that is exactly what they wanted to do. I by the time we get back, so for let me say this already, so maybe otherwise I would have forgotten to say it at the end of the episodes anyways. Next week there's not going to be an episode because I'm going to be traveling and Frozen will not be available. either.
I'll also be traveling.
Yeah,
So
there we go. I didn't want to, put out your dirty laundry or your laundry in general.
No, I'm gonna be traveling too, so I'm not gonna be home.
So that means that we won't have an episode next week. We'll be back on June 2nd. And I'm kind of curious, by then we should get a better feel, and we'll get, that reverb, that echo throughout the community will kind of reach us. Because right now, I don't feel like, not even in my environment, I've not heard a lot of complaints. I've not heard people going like, oh yeah, they overdid it. No, it's just all those yelling voices that we had before the patch dropped have all quieted down in my environment. And I see a lot of people complaining about Hanzo still, because Hanzo is not a lot. I see people complaining, not a lot. I see a few people complaining about Hanzo that the buff doesn't mean anything.
Yeah, I had one friend, but he's a Hanzo main, so
yeah, it's definitely the Hanzo mains, and the Mercy mains are still not happy because they feel like she's been neglected. But that is always the thing, of course. Like, everybody will feel like their own main hero is neglected. But I think overall, next is going to be the season 11 release. I think we're going to see another wave of changes. I think we might see the Cassidy rework and whatnot. And it's going to keep evolving. But if this turns out to be kind of all okay, I really think we as a community need to kind of stop doing this whole kind of knee-jerk panic thing every time before and start yelling at them. I mean, how many times have we had that up till now this year alone? Like 3 or 4 times where the whole community was up in arms, and then afterwards we're all like, yeah, this is actually pretty okay. It's not that bad.
We kind of mentioned that last episode. Last episode was, but the episode before of the podcast, we kind of mentioned it already. It's like the more often Team 4 will do something like this and it turns out fine, the more the community will get accustomed to it. It will get more normalized.
I don't know. I feel like really people are still always reacting like they are setting the place. Like, even after the release, I saw these clips on TikTok of people again in the shooting the shooting range doing crazy stuff.
It's a meme at this point, honestly.
It is a meme.
Such a meme. Yeah,
and then making these little clips and posting them on Twitter. I think content creators play a big role in this, because they are looking, the type of content that works is if you put a huge title in all caps that goes, they broke Roadhog, or Roadhog is back, or Roadhog is dominating again, you'll get clicks, you'll get views. But if you tell everybody, hey, the balancing patch is quite okay, you'll get pushback because everybody feels their main is still not performing, is not dominating enough.
I said different kinds of videos like pop up. Like, sometimes I just search YouTube and see what comes up.
Yeah.
When things like that release, because it's always pretty interesting. And like, there were some bigger content creators with like video titles like "Tanks are actually good now" and stuff like that, because.
Yeah, in this case, that was like the flats and whatnot. Yeah. But on the other hand, like those are the clip. Those were there too, and those are the people that were waiting for these tank buffs to come and whatnot. But on the other hand, I saw other content creators, like the less positive people. I'm not going to name anybody, but that's dishing out these clips where I'm like, guys, why you keep doing this? This is just. It's not even in a game. It's like you and your body and the shooting gallery are in a custom game doing weird shit.
At this point, it's like always the same 10 content creators doing shit like this, at least from the big ones. There's multiple smaller ones, but you kind of know who those are by now.
Yeah.
And I don't know if the people who like believe them are just gonna be like, oh yes, they say like it is, because they just want to complain about things. But
there definitely are people that echo those opinions.
Always are so negative, and when it turns out fine, you don't hear anything from them anymore, which is kind of embarrassing. It's like, why don't more people think it's kind of embarrassing? Because it is.
Yeah, I mean, some content creators, some content creators will go like, yeah, I was worried about this beforehand, but it turns out it's all fine. But those are the people the people that have some
like, that's self-reflection. That's like transparency. That's like, hey, I have my reservation about this. I was wrong. Like, there's so little people who are able to admit, like, hey, I wasn't sure about this, but I was wrong. It turns out, blah 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 blah. It's kind of infuriating how little some people are able to reflect on themselves, the things they said, and their opinions.
But I don't think they want to, because they don't care. About at some point they just go into this mode where they want to. It's something like I've seen multiple versions of this, multiple stories. But sometimes it's just a matter of like, what is going to work for me? What is going to get me the views? What is going to get me the clicks? And they just go for that. And then at some point, Blizzard will push back and go like, hey, oh. And then they'll not push back, just don't include them anymore in some of their programming, because, if you're just going to be shit-talking everything that we do, yeah, you're completely entitled to your opinion, but we're not going to invite you for events if you're just going to come back and shit-talk us without anything positive to say or even anything that we can work with.
It's so valid.
And then those people become even more pissed off, and then they feel entitled in what they're doing, and they kind of push through, and then they find themselves in positions where they need to, rethink their careers and kind of go in different directions or whatnot. It's the dark side of being a content creator for games. It's like it's in a way, it's such a clusterfuck.
I don't know if you can say for games in general. I think the problem more lies with if you focus on one specific game. True.
But even if I think, like, even for like people like Force and whatnot, like people that are kind of a little more, that have a certain kind of genre of games that they approach, they'll also sometimes get caught in these weird kind of, I don't know.
Very true, but I like for people who are like have like variety streamers, variety gamers, people who like have, for example, a genre that, like, I don't know, they mostly stick to horror. Sometimes they branch out and do other stuff, but I don't see them do shit like that as often as people who just focus on their one or two games that they have, because the people who focus on the one game that they have are much more involved with it, also emotionally. So changes like that will like not only hit them harder emotionally, and maybe they get pissed or they want their opinion out, but also they somehow have to always make viral videos about that one topic, which how many can you get out like that? How many? So I see creators who just focus on one or two games much more being more radical, but also more clickbaity about their things, and sometimes not reflect as much as to what they're saying than creators who just do more broad stuff in general. Because, I mean, that game had an update I didn't really care about, or I think it's a bit weird, I'm just gonna play another game. Like, that's most of the time their approach to things.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I definitely think if you have alternatives, if you have ways of kind of, if you can ignore certain stuff and kind of go like, if this doesn't please me anymore, I'm just going to do something different. That's why I like doing Geek and Plunder a lot, because I can just do whatever I want to do. And if I see something I don't like, I just don't cover it.
Yeah, no, exactly. But it's like, hey, this game, I don't care for this update, I'm gonna play something else. And then, they change something again, I might look into it again. That is way less toxic, or it's way less toxic approach than, I still play this game, I still want to enjoy this game, but I'm just gonna complain about it all the time.
Yeah.
I don't know.
my approach is just I try to take everything level-headed and wait and see. That is what I learned. Wait and see.
Follow you for.
Yeah. Wait and see, because I think I say that little sentence in almost every single episode at least once, but it turns out I'm not bragging or anything, but it turns out I was right every single time. It isn't as bad as we thought it was going to be. That is basically it.
Big shocker. Yeah. Oh my gosh.
And it's been different. There have been moments at which that we kind of put our hopes and dreams, stacked them all beautifully on the lap of Team 4 and Blizzard, and that they basically fucked up and gave us our hopes and dreams back, mangled and distraught. But that, I mean, that is not something that they're going to keep doing over and over. That is not feasible. I mean, they didn't do it deliberately. That was a dark time.
I mean, at the end of the day, if you don't want to, you don't have to pay any money. At the end of the day, as long as you enjoy the base game, as long as you can play with people or by yourself and have fun, things are gonna be fine.
Yeah, we put too much stock in what we personally want, and we need to just enjoy it.
There are a lot of things to be critiqued. There are a lot of things that need to be talked about, and it's completely fair. But sometimes we just shouldn't take things too seriously, because at the end of the day, it's a silly little video game on the monitor.
Look at that. Look at that. I think that is the most beautiful way to end this episode. I don't think I could have said it any better. I probably would have said it with a different accent. I would have said it with a Belgian accent instead of a German accent. And I don't know if that is necessarily bad, let's be honest. We all love Sigma way more than we love Sigma, so we know that. All right. Frozen, thank you very much for your input and for being here today. Have a good rest of your... Frozen is going to play D&D later today. She still has to prepare shit, so I'm going to let her go. In 45 minutes. 45 minutes.
It's going to be something.
All right, guys. Thank you very much for watching or listening. Take care. Bye-bye.